This is Sundry Sports for Friday, July 17th. And we start with Cowboys Wire, brought to you by USA Today. And the same top story as yesterday. Cowboys don't have cap space to tag Prescott again in 2021. I'm not talking about this again. Hot fire takeaways. Fallout from no Dak deal include possible trade up for 2021 draft quarterback. There are multiple angles to the scenario that the Dallas Cowboys have placed themselves unable to work out. I think you mean the scenario in which the Dallas Cowboys have placed themselves unable to work out a long-term agreement with franchise quarterback Dak Prescott. Report. Cowboys tried at last minute to do long-term Prescott deal. It apparently came right down to the wire, but in the end, the Cowboys front office simply ran out of time in trying to finalize. Oh, it's all on their heads, right? Because if Dak wanted a long-term deal, it would have happened. It's so annoying. You just put it all on the Cowboys' head. Twitter reactions. Prescott's brother doesn't know how much longer he'll root for Cowboys. All day Wednesday, Cowboys Nation waited anxiously for news that disaster had somehow been averted. Disaster. Oh my goodness. More headlines. News. Dak's no-deal fallout. Alden Smith's hand workout. NFL Players Association talking opt-out. Yeah, I don't want to read 2 out of 3 of those things, so I don't care. I'm not clicking on that. Madden 21 ratings. Who the fuck cares? Mike McCarthy, yes. Yes. Ezekiel Elliott's peers help prove why he is transcendent at his position. That sounds like a new one. Why didn't they put that up high? News. Dak Prescott deadline quickly approaches. Oh, very old news. I'm so sick of this shit. The ESPN Daily. Good morning. You might have noticed that Tory was trending on Twitter yesterday. I'm not saying I'm self-absorbed, but I did immediately check to make sure I wasn't the topic of discussion. I'm relieved to announce I was not. Here's your ESPN Daily. Listen up. The sound of sports. The roar of the crowd has always been the soundtrack of sports. Whether it's a deafening defense chant in football or a cascade of boos after a blown call in baseball, the crowd is the emotional heartbeat of any game. While we're talking about the crowd, can we just talk about this picture here? Why? Why are your pictures of not real spectators also forced to wear masks? Why? I mean, it's so impersonal already with them just being pictures. You have to make even the pictures that just little bit extra more impersonal. That's so sad and weird. Anyway. But now, with the coronavirus panic making fan attendance impossible, and MLB, NHL, and NBA on the verge of returning to play, sports are suddenly going to sound completely different. For athletes and fans alike, the unfamiliar silence is going to take some getting used to. On today's episode of the ESPN Daily Podcast, Mina Kimes chats with players, broadcasters, and writers from around the sports world about the impact of the sound of sports before, during, and after the panic. Well, you could take a look at WWE matches before they started having a small bit of crowds. The grunting is a little off-putting. But then I've always found the grunting a little off-putting. Things to care about. How Simone Biles found her voice. Simone Biles is a bona fide gymnastics superhero, but she's also a human being who is dealing with the weight of being the face of an organization that failed to protect her and her teammates. A month after the 2016 Rio Olympics, the Indianapolis Star first reported that 2 former athletes had accused USA Gymnastics team doctor Larry Nassar of sexual abuse. Why are we still talking about this? Biles, who had taken a break from competing, stayed silent, but in January 2018, Biles contemplated her return to competitive gymnastics. She revealed on Twitter that she, too, had survived Nassar's abuse. Now, Biles is a 23-year-old woman shouldering the burden of using her influence to elicit change while simultaneously training for her second Olympic Games. To put it mildly, it's a lot. It's very weighing, still being in the sport, still competing for the U.S., and under USA Gymnastics, Biles said. Whenever I speak out, people don't realize how triggering it is for me, but I put my mentality at jeopardy to help other people. Oh, how brave and powerful. In partnership with the 30 for 30 podcast, Heavy Metals Inside the Karolyi Gymnastics Empire, Bonnie D. Ford and Alyssa Ronick present an oral history of how Biles' unique journey to becoming the world's greatest gymnast helped her claim her power, find her voice, and change the sport. You can listen to the Heavy Metals podcast here and read about Dominique Mossonew's role in breaking an industry-wide silence about the abusive methods of longtime coaches Bela and Martha Karolyi here. While I admit that I don't know anything about their abusive methods, I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say that these days, a lot of things are considered abuse that didn't used to be. So you're retroactively labeling things as abuse in many cases. Not saying that I know that this is one of those cases, just saying this seems to happen quite often. And honestly, if you were to go back in time and prevent such abuses from happening, I'm like 99% certain that the accomplishments of those supposed victims would not have happened. It's called tough love and discipline. These days, discipline is seen as abuse. But discipline is what gets the results that you want. Anyway, Hype Hits Hall of Fame. As someone who had Archie Eversole's absolute banger We Ready as their MySpace song for a solid 8-month stretch, I'm qualified to speak with authority when it comes to the matter of best pump-up songs of all time. It's been 25 years since ESPN released the first in a series of popular compilation albums featuring songs played at sporting events across the world. To celebrate the anniversary, the list of songs that make us want to run through a wall or get us hyped to take the field / support our favorite team has been updated for 2020 using a combination of streaming data, Billboard Hot 100 chart performance, and voting by an ESPN panel. While I personally think having Eminem's Lose Yourself below Pitbull's Timber is mad disrespectful, for once I actually agree with this chick about something. I guess I shouldn't be all that surprised. The devil works hard, but Mr. Worldwide works harder. Without further ado, here's the top 10 songs in the Hype Hits Hall of Fame. If you don't see your go-to workout anthems in the top 10, don't be alarmed. To properly account for the wide array of artists, genres, and eras that play in stadiums, locker rooms, buses, and headphones, We went ahead and made 8 genre-specific playlists. Whether you're looking for the best of pop or the best of hip-hop, we got you. Oh, and we even have a takeover playlist courtesy of L. Duncan. Don't say we never gave you anything. MJ changed the fashion game. A few days ago, I got sent a meme of Michael Jordan rocking a less than fashionable fit. I cringed at his ensemble of ripped, acid-washed dad jeans, boots, and a crinkled shirt while simultaneously feeling a tinge of guilt for daring to clown the GOAT like that. Jordan's limitless swagger used to extend well beyond the court with his signature gold hoop, immaculate suits, and uncanny ability to rock a beret. But now, the man who turned male-pattern baldness into a shiny, aerodynamic masterpiece has shed his cool. So how and why did MJ go from having the most popular sneaker of all time branded in his likeness to rocking brunch boots and Canadian tuxedos? Erica Goodman Huey explains why Jordan's refusal to change his style to keep up with the times is a telling example of MJ being MJ, and why we're just going to have to deal with it. I feel like that should be the case with everybody and what they want to wear. You just have to deal with it, because, I mean, in the case of athletes, I don't know why people care so much about what they're wearing. You should only care how they play. While I do appreciate, the suits and when everybody looks nice. I mean, as long as they're wearing a suit, I don't know why you have to. I mean, as long as they're wearing a suit at the appropriate times. I don't know why you have to judge what particular suit they chose to put on. Whatever. It's just weird to me. Weekend binge reads. Some coaches share college's burden. As the coronavirus panic continues to wreak havoc, universities across the country are feeling the ramifications. Schools are facing deep financial distress, accepting millions of dollars in taxpayer relief and, in most cases, implementing a range of cost-saving measures inside and outside of athletics. To that tune, nearly half of major college football and men's basketball coaches have taken voluntary pay cuts. Have you people looked at how much those students are paying in tuition recently? Where the fuck is all that money going? Maybe it's not the coaches who should be getting pay cuts. Yes, I'm sure some of that money is going to the coaches, but how about, I don't know, the college presidents, the professors, the deans, the board? I don't know, whatever. ESPN contacted all 65 Power 5 schools, plus 10 other colleges with top-tier basketball programs, to determine the extent to which coaches are sharing in the unprecedented financial burdens. According to the survey, at 33 of the 75 schools, at least one coach agreed to renegotiate a contract to accept a pay cut amid the panic. They include Michigan football coach Jim Harbaugh, who last month agreed to a one-year 10% cut of his $7.5 million salary. Oh my goodness. Okay. Maybe, yeah. Never mind. I'm sure that this is probably the best place to get pay cuts. Although, like the higher-ups in the administration probably could do with a pay cut as well. Kansas basketball coach Bill Self, $4 million, 10% cut for 6 months. And Oklahoma football coach Lincoln Riley, $6.4 million, 10% cut for 1 year. However, the survey also found that 8 of the 10 top-paid football coaches and at least 5 of the 10 highest-paid men's basketball coaches, all of whom earn more money than anyone else at their schools, have not taken cuts. The list of those whose pay is unchanged includes the 2 highest-paid coaches in their respective sports. Clemson football coach Dab Swinney, who earned $9.3 million in the 2019-20 school year. Mother of God. That is ridiculous. And Kentucky basketball coach John Calipari, who earned $8.2 million. Others include, in football, Alabama's Nick Saban, $8.6 something million. And Texas A&M's Jimbo Fisher, 7.5 million. And in basketball, Tennessee's Rick Barnes, 4.7 million, and Texas Tech's Chris Beard, 4.4 million. Trademark tussle for Washington? When I think of adopting a new hobby, my mind turns toward knitting, planting in the garden, just kidding, I don't have a garden, or enhancing my culinary skills. Even as a diehard Washington football fan, I don't think trademarking potential team names would ever cross my mind. And it's for that reason I find this story to be odd, even by Washington football standards. Here's the gist. So, wait. Not once does she say Washington Redskins. So the name's retired and now it's completely taboo. This is obnoxious. It's very, very obnoxious. Let's reword some of this, okay? Even as a diehard Washington Redskins fan, I don't think trademarking potential team names would ever cross my mind, and it's for that reason I find this story to be odd, even by Washington Redskins standards. Here's the gist. An Alexandria, Virginia man who was a fan of the franchise, that's the Washington Redskins franchise, has made a hobby out of filing trademark applications of names Washington ostensibly could choose for its new name. 44 applications to be exact. Huh? Yeah, you can't make this stuff up. Martin McCauley claims his attempt to trademark all of Washington's potential new names, that's all of the Washington Redskins' potential new names, started as a joke before transitioning into a full-fledged hobby. His latest filing on July 8th, the Washington Red Wolves, that joins a list including Red Tails, Monuments, Veterans, Red-Tailed Hawks, Americans, Braves, and Renegades. There's also the Freedom Fighters and the Radskins. Yes, I have personally I have an affinity for Radskins. This means McCauley could potentially be a key player in the Washington Redskins' quest to trademark a new name for its football team. There's been some criticism on my involvement, McCauley said. I think I'm doing them a solid. I've reserved a lot of names and registered, and to me that's an easy transaction. You can use my registered trademark if you want to use one that's already registered. That seems like a way to facilitate the name change. While the thought of purposefully inserting oneself into Washington's name hunt puzzles me, I am most concerned with the fact that each application costs $275. Yeah, I think I'll stick with knitting. No mention of the Washington Squaws. That's still what I'm hoping for, personally. Not that anybody listens to me, but whatever. Washington Squaws, think about it. They would get extra points for being the very first NFL team to name their team after women. I mean, how progressive is that? Things to watch. Madden 99 Club. Okay. So, more people that care about fucking Madden ratings. Gilmore's family goes all out. Get you a family who supports you like Stephen Gilmore's family supports him. While there have been plenty of disgruntled players this week who feel they were slighted by their Madden 21 rankings, I happen to agree with the majority of them. It's always cool to see a guy who deserves a top mark get rewarded with the coveted 99. It's even cooler to see how Gilmore's quarantine rallied around his accomplishment. His daughter can be seen presenting her dad with his official 99 chain before his son adorably comments, "That's almost 100. Okay. Cute. Why does this matter? Especially with the ones who are feeling slighted. Why does it fucking matter? It's so stupid. Overheard. Honestly, I thought you all were joking. I can't really say everything I want to say on the air right now. I kind of take it as disrespect. Kyler Murray on his 77 overall rating in Madden 21. Ugh, even more. Remember when? On this date in 2018, Dallas Wings center, excuse me, Liz Cambage dropped 53 points to set a single-game WNBA scoring record in a win over the New York Liberty. Cambage shot 17 of 22 from the field, including 4 of 5 from three-point range, and even added 10 rebounds to make it a double-double. In the immortal words of Larry David, pretty good. Okay. Until next time, remember, the fact that Lil Wayne's Fireman, Birdman's Pop Bottles, Manos, All the Above, and DJ Khaled's Out Here Grindin' didn't make the cut for the Hype Hits Best of Hip Hop playlist is a hard pill for my high school self to swallow. When were you in high school? How old is this person? But I do respect the inclusion of Fort Minor's 2005 banger Remember the Name. I wonder what happened to Fort Minor more often than I care to admit. This has been your ESPN Daily for Friday, July 17th, 2020. And that's it for ESPN. Goodbye, ESPN. Last of all is Yahoo Sports. Read and react. And normally they deserve that yawn, so we'll see. Trending report: 15 women allege sexual harassment inside Washington Redskins football office. Oh my goodness. Let's just completely kill the franchise now, huh? They gave you what you wanted. Now finish them off. Tiger returns to course, but Finau setting the pace. J.J. Watt outlines grievances with NFL's COVID plan. I sincerely hope that their grievances plan is way too restrictive. Aaron Rodgers and Danica reportedly split up. Huh. The lead goat of goats, the Final Four. This is annoying. Happy Friday, y'all. Well, we're down to the Final Four in our effort to determine the greatest of all time of greatest of all times. The greatest of all time amongst the greatest of all time. Here's who you, the readers, have chosen. Wayne Gretzky versus Michael Phelps, and Michael Jordan versus Tiger Woods. The premise from the get-go for this exercise has been to determine the athlete who dominated their respective competition the most. Comparing hockey to basketball is an impossible endeavor. Or in this case, hockey to Olympic swimming. Just as it's impossible to compare eras within a single sport, like Babe Ruth versus Willie Mays in baseball, we can, however, attempt to determine who put their own competition the furthest in their rearview mirror. So with that in mind, here's what my Final Four would be. Wayne Gretzky, Babe Ruth, Michael Jordan, and Usain Bolt. Gretzky is a no-brainer. Dude has more assists than anyone else does total points. His biggest knock is only winning 4 Stanley Cups. Babe was the same in his era. He hit more home runs than entire teams, and when he retired with 714, he had 336 more than Lou Gehrig in second. The knock against Babe, MLB wasn't integrated. What? Seriously? That's not his fault. MJ's 6 full-season string of championships is unlike anything we've seen in the modern free agency era of team sports, not just basketball, all of sports. Rare is the three-peat, uncharted is 4 in a row. Jordan went 6 for 6. The knock? That 2-year hiatus, which, if it never happens and Jordan goes 8 for 8, puts him unarguably, I believe you mean inarguably, at the top of this list. And I'd pick Bolt over Michael Phelps, which says something right there. I wouldn't be surprised if Phelps wins this thing. In fact, he was the staff choice when we started this project, but I go with Bolt because in a sport measured by hundredths of seconds, he won by tenths. If he'd had more medal opportunities, he'd have won them. Now it's your turn to vote. We'll reveal your choice and ours next week. Wetzel. Dan Snyder has long been aware of Washington's toxic culture. Brown. No fans to boo, but Astros' troubles are not in the past. Thamel. COVID has shown college football needs a commissioner. Making golf easy. Tiger Woods made his return to the course for the first time in 5 months and did some tiger things. Why does it stop? Why? This is really bugging me that it doesn't show where the ball stops. The ball's still traveling when it loops back to the swing. This is bugging me now. God damn it. Alright, that's it for Sundry Sports. Thank you, and good night.